November 2nd, 2025 at 6:14 a.m. 3 Venezuelan patrol ships slice north through open water, their wakes cutting bright white scars across the dawn. They're heading directly toward a moving wall of gray steel. The USS Gerald R. Ford and her carrier Strait Group. To the US Navy, this is just another transit to Caracas. It's an opportunity. Inside Venezuela's Naval Command Center, one short order echoes through the speakers.
Close distance. Show the flag.
Minutes later, the Gary-class ships CG-23, 24, and 25 push past 28 knots. From above, their formation looks surgical. A shallow spear aimed straight at the heart of the Ford's track line. It's not an escort, it's a message. On the Ford's bridge, the first officer steps to the glass. In the pink morning haze, 3 faint silhouettes rise from the horizon. They're small compared to the carrier's 1,000-feet deck, but they're coming in fast. Around them, sailors move with trained precision.
Faces calm, but eyes sharp.
Just 24 hours earlier, Venezuela had scrapped a multi-billion-dollar energy deal with Trinidad and Tobago, blaming US interference. Now, their navy seems determined to underline that point, literally in steel. The Ford keeps course, engine steady, bow cutting clean through the sea. Every mile forward draws both sides closer to a decision that neither can take back. Venezuela wanted to be seen. The United States refuses to look away. And somewhere in between those two statements lies the moment when a political message turns into a military risk. To understand why this happened, you need to see what built the storm behind it.
6:18 a.m.
The Venezuelan patrol ships fan out across the Caribbean like blades, each hull carving its own white trail through open water. Their formation isn't random. It's deliberate geometry. A half-moon arc built to squeeze the carrier Strait Group's path from the south. Aboard the USS Gerald R. Ford. Every station is awake now. The bridge windows catch first light. The sea below flashes gold. From the carrier's combat direction center, surface tracks bloom across digital maps. The red icons closing in at 28 knots. But this isn't about radar.
It's about intent.
The USS Gravely, one of the Ford's escorts, surges forward to take point. The destroyer's turbines spool to life, turning white water from her wake.
Her job is clear.
Shield the carrier.
Keep things lawful. Keep them calm.
Contact steady, calls the surface watch officer. Bearing 190 range 8.4 nautical miles.
Copy, replies the captain.
Maintain intercept posture.
Eyes on.
On the Ford's deck, the crew pauses mid-task as the Venezuelan hulls grow larger by the minute. Through binoculars, they can already make out the flag snapping in the wind, red, yellow, and blue, and the dark outlines of the 76mm guns glinting in the morning light. No one on the American side wants escalation, but they know the game. Venezuela's Navy calls this stretch of ocean the Bolivarian Security Zone, a line no one else recognizes. Crossing it means confrontation, even if the map says otherwise. Radio operators transmit the standard hail in both languages. Venezuelan naval vessels. This is a United States warship operating in international waters.
Maintain a safe distance.
Of course, silence, just the low thrum of engines through the hull.
6:22 a.m.
From the destroyer's bridge, the officer of the deck studies the horizon. 3 wakes converge, unwavering, bearings constant. That's not coincidence. That's choreography. Contacts holding speed, says the combat watch. CPA under 6 nautical miles.
The captain nods once. Understood.
Log everything. Inside the Combat Information Center, screens flicker between daylight camera feeds and infrared views from the Ford Seahawk helicopter. Now lifting off for aerial overwatch. From 600 feet up, its thermal sensors track the Venezuelan formation. Bright signatures against dark water.
Closing in fast.
6:25 a.m. aboard the Ford.
The command voice comes. Over the intercom.
All stations condition 3.
Maintain readiness.
Deck crews move with a controlled rhythm.
Nobody shouts. Nobody runs.
Every sailor knows what proximity means at sea.
A handshake made of steel.
The Venezuelan lead ship shifts 2 degrees starboard, aligning directly across the Ford's projected course. From above, it looks like an intersection waiting to happen. And in less than 2 minutes, they'll be inside the carrier's safety bubble.
6:27 a.m.
The Venezuelan lead ship CG-23 Gary breaks formation first, sliding ahead like a shark, cutting through glass. Its bow points directly towards the carrier's flank. The other 2 vessels hold back, trailing at equal distance on port and starboard, creating a wedge. On the USS Gravely, bridge officers watch it unfold in real time.
No confusion now.
This is a deliberate push. The Combat Information Center tracks every bearing change. Laid contact closing fast. Range 5.1 nautical miles. The Surface Watch officer calls out.
Copy. Maintain course.
The captain answers, voice even. We're not the ones flinching today. Above, the Seahawk helicopter banks low for a visual pass. It's a show of force without firing a shot. Then the radio crackles to life for the first time. United States warship, you are entering the Bolivarian security zone. Alter course immediately. The response is calm, measured, and bilingual.
Negative.
Operating lawfully in international waters. We recommend that you maintain safe separation. Static fills the air and then silence again.
6:29 a.m.
The Ford holds her course 20 knots heading 217. The destroyer cuts parallel less than 2,000 yards off her beam. Between them, the ocean churns like a conveyor belt of tension. On the Ford's deck, flight ops halt completely. Catapults go cold. Deck crew frozen in anticipation. A billion-dollar carrier Stray Coup is now locked in a staring contest with 3 ships worth less than a single FA-18. Inside the destroyer, metal trembles under shifting torque. Contact inside 1,000 yards.
Someone calls.
The captain grips the railing, eyes locked forward. Helm, come right 5 degrees. Let's keep our nose between him and the carrier. For a breathless 5 seconds, both ships plow through white water side by side. Close enough that sailors on either deck can see faces, cameras, and the glint of the morning sun on steel. Then the Venezuelan vessel blinks first. Engines throttle back. Its bow dips, sliding off the collision line. At 6:35 a.m., the gravely steady course. The carrier's flight deck resumes motion. The radio stays silent. 2 nations just came within seconds of disaster. And no one fired a shot. But for every sailor on those bridges, the message is clear. One wrong maneuver next time, and freedom of navigation could have a very different meaning. 6:36 a.m. The sea has now gone silent. Engines idle low, exhaust fumes curling off steel decks like smoke after shot that never came. Both formations, American and Venezuelan, now drift in a fragile equilibrium, neither advancing nor backing away. On the USS Gerald R. Ford, every sailor feels the weight of stillness. The carrier's flight deck moments ago alive with turbine roar is now motionless. Crews stand by with aircraft helmets in hand, eyes fixed on the southern horizon where 3 smaller silhouettes hold their ground. Inside the USS Gravely's Combat Information Center, tension hums like an electric wire. Contact steady, the Surface Watch officer reports. Range holding 2.4 nautical miles.
The captain nods once. Copy. Maintain posture.
Cameras rolling. From 800 feet above, the Seahawk helicopter holds its orbit, circling the standoff. Its camera captures every second. Heat signatures, bearing lines, wake trails. The footage streams live to the Forge Combat Direction Center. Already archived for the Pentagon's morning brief. Then, through the static of Channel 16, another message pierces the quiet. United States warship, you are warned. You have entered restricted waters. The captain's reply is calm.
Almost rehearsed. Negative.
Operating lawfully in international waters. Recommend you maintain safe separation.
No anger.
No raised voice, just presence. The Venezuelan lead hip answers, not with words, but with movement. Its rudder shifts slightly to starboard, angling across the destroyer's bow again. A gesture halfway between warning and retreat. The other 2 vessels mirror it, drifting into a loose formation that slowly begins to slide south. Bridge CIC contacts turning away calls the tactical watch. The captain exhales through his nose. Old course do not pursue. 6:39 a.m. The Gravely's turbines hum back to cruise power. On board, sailors release slow breaths they didn't realize that they were holding. The sound of the sea returns rhythmic, familiar. On the Ford's bridge, the strike group commander watches the feed from the Seahawk. The 3 Venezuelan hulls shrink in the distance, their wakes crossing like fading scars in the water. They're disengaging, the operations officer says. Good, commander replies. Let's keep it that way. Above, the Seahawk swings north for recovery. Its camera lingers on the retreating formation one last time before the feed cuts off.
6:42 a.m.
From the deck of the Ford, the last Venezuelan ship dips below the horizon. The ocean looks peaceful again, but everyone knows peace isn't the same as calm. The captain of the Gravely steps out onto the bridge wing, morning wind slicing past his face. He says quietly, mostly to himself, freedom of navigation affirmed. The crew doesn't cheer. They just watch the sea, steady and silent, knowing that they've won nothing but avoided everything. 9:40 a.m. 3 hours later, the heat over the southern Caribbean is already brutal. The USS Gerald R. Ford continues north. Her escort formation back in standard geometry. Flight deck alive again with crews and aircraft. But inside the carrier's Combat Direction Center, no one is pretending that this morning was routine. On one of the main displays, video from the Seahawk still loops. 3 Venezuelan patrol ships engaging dangerously close. The destroyer gravely holding firm. Every second of it logged, time-stamped, and encrypted. By now, that same footage is already being analyzed back in Norfolk and Washington. Across the sea, Venezuela moves faster. Within an hour of the encounter, state broadcaster VTV airs grainy clips of the confrontation. Shaky cell phone video taken from the deck of CG-23 Guy Carey. The anchor calls it a heroic defense of Bolivarian sovereignty. Caracas declares that its navy successfully forced a U.S. carrier group to alter course inside Venezuelan waters. The reality, the carrier never shifted 1 degree, but perception travels faster than fact. At the Pentagon, the press office releases a single-sentence statement. The USS Gerald R. Ford Strike Group conducted routine operations in international waters consistent with international law. No drama, no accusations, just facts. Deliberately dry as the Navy prefers. But make no mistake, the message behind that line is steel hard. For defense analysts, what happens south of Trinidad isn't an isolated event. It's another entry into the growing logbook of gray zone naval encounters, confrontations designed to provoke headlines, not wars. Venezuela's Gisari-class ships were never going to fire on the U.S. carrier. That wasn't their mission. The goal was visibility, to show defiance on camera, to feed a domestic narrative that Caracas still controls its seas. Meanwhile, the Ford's very existence in that region was its own statement. A $13 billion symbol of reach escorted by destroyers that can track and intercept a missile before it even leaves the stratosphere. The ship doesn't need to threaten. Its presence is enough. By noon, satellite imagery shows the Venezuelan patrols back near their home port of La Guera. On board the Ford, the logbook closes with the entry, "No aggression observed." Mission ongoing. And yet, every sailor aboard knows that this wasn't nothing. It was choreography, deliberate, rehearsed, and dangerously close to chaos. The sea might look calm again, but something shifted below the surface. Venezuela proved it could act bold. The United States proved it wouldn't blink. And the rest of the world just learned in high definition what modern deterrence looks like. Restraint at 20 knots. 6 p.m. By evening, the Caribbean looks peaceful again. Blue horizon, orange sunset, and the low hum of turbines pushing the USS Gerald are forward eastward. For most of the world, nothing happened today. But for the sailors who stood on those decks, it was a reminder that the calmest seas can hide the loudest tensions. Incidents like this don't start wars, they test nerves. No missiles, no gunfire, just steel and silence. But one wrong turn, a misread maneuver, and the next headline could have looked very, very different. The truth is, modern naval power isn't about who fires first anymore. It's about who stays calm the longest. And that brings us to you. If you were standing on that bridge with 3 foreign patrol ships cutting across your bow, would you have held your course or would you have turned away? Let me know what you would have done down below in the comments. Thanks for watching today's breakdown. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the real world of naval tension, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. And hey, if you want to go a step further and support the channel directly, please join the fleet. You'll get loyalty badges, priority responses, and you'll be helping us bring more true maritime stories to the surface. Just head on over to our channel page and click on join to get on board. Because out here, it's not the waves that test you, it's what's coming over the horizon. I'll see you in the next one.